Welcome to the AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, my guest is Chris Forgione from Formula Automotive. Welcome, Chris.
Morning, Brian. Welcome. Thank you.
Where'd you come in from today?
Naples, Florida.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So a little bit of a ride, but not too bad.
Yeah, it's a little warmer down there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Did you bring a jacket?
Yeah, just this. I looked at the weather. I wasn't, didn't say it was too bad.
Yeah.
60s or something. So
Yeah, this is a great time of year here.
going back to 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get started with a little bit about you
Sure.
and your career path. Can you tell me, the path that brought you to where you are today?
Sure. Basically, I've always been in automotive space of some sort from, young, late teens or, early 20s. My father had some auto parts stores and aftermarket stuff, so I was partners with him and segued into service industry and had a couple service places. One was a small transmission franchise that I started in. And then I moved back to Long Island and got a job with one of the country's preeminent law firms that kind of represent auto dealerships, and got into the world of dealerships through them and kind of came up into, the warranty stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk about warranty rate disparity.
Sure.
Can you just give our audience a little bit about what it is and what dealers can do about it?
Sure. So the disparity really is simple. It's just the difference between what the manufacturer is reimbursing the dealers on the warranty work versus what the state laws entitle the dealerships to. So, the manufacturers want to keep the dealers at, for example, 40% on their parts, or sometimes it is MSRP, but the state law says that the dealerships are entitled to full retail reimbursement, and that's the same as what they would charge customer pay. So the difference is big. So you don't really have to accept what the manufacturer is going to just reimburse you. You can do a process, and we can kind of talk about that as well. But the process then that we do for them would give them reimbursement at the retail rate. So it's a big difference.
Wow. So what is the if you could maybe quantify it a little bit, what is the opportunity for a dealer that does maximize that reimbursement, and what's at stake for the dealer that doesn't? I mean,
Sure.
is this what in dollars and cents? What's that look like?
Yeah, typically, if a dealer goes from, on average, if it's a 40% markup on parts, and we can get them up to 80%, just for example. I mean, an average dealership could easily pick up $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month in additional profit. On labor rate, you're at $150 an hour, and we get them up to $175 an hour, for example. Same thing, $10,000, $20,000 a month. I mean, it really does depend on volume. Every dealership's different. You get a rural dealer that's, not doing as much volume as a more urban type of dealer. But, the difference really in dollars is staggering. I mean, it's typically tens of thousands of dollars a month.
Wow. I mean,
yeah, it's a lot of.
That's a hard problem to not pay attention
Yeah,
to.
it's a lot of money. Sure.
So if a dealer does decide, I want to address this, what's the process? What's the process really look like? And is it something that happens quickly? Does it take a month, a year? Like how do you go about it?
The process is it's time consuming and it's complex. The state laws allow the dealers to submit. Usually it's 100 qualifying sequential repair orders, customer pay, and we kind of go through the data, and we have to identify, that you want to do the best 100 sampling, and you have to do a submission, and you have to prove your rate. As far as the time goes, typically 45 to 60 days, I would say, is average. It takes us a little bit of time to get the work done, and then once you make the submission into the manufacturer, they typically have 30 days to respond. There are some states where it's 45 days or 60 days, but the good majority of them are 30 days. And for the most part, they wait to the last minute,
Yeah, well, yeah. You might as well take advantage of every day at the lower rate you can, right?
Exactly, yeah. But from the day that, they want to get going on it to when they'll receive their increase is probably, 60 days.
When you say you got to do the 100 sequential ROs, is that, so I guess the labor rate, it's not based upon what it says on the wall. I guess it's
correct.
It's what they're actually charging for those repairs.
Yeah.
Like how's that work?
Sure, it's an effective labor rate. So you have to go through and you look at, it's the hours that they're billing the customer as well as the dollar amount, but you have to factor in discounts and all sorts of stuff. So it's not just the door rate, which would be, $150 is on the wall or something like that. I mean, their effective labor rate could be $143 or it could be $162. It just really all depends after you do the analysis what that rate will be.
Oh, okay. So that's why you need the 100 sequential, is because you have to really dive in.
You could take one repair order and it's $200 an hour and, say, hey, we're going to submit this one,
Yeah.
So yeah. So you do 100 and it kind of gives them an average over, let's say it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. It all depends, but it gives them more of like an idea of what an average would be, not just 1 or 2 repair orders.
Well, I mean, I guess my next question seems crazy, but why in the world wouldn't every dealer have already done this?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't they doing it?
I think, when I started many years ago, there were quite a few that haven't done it yet. If we fast forward now, all the states have laws that entitle the dealers to retail of some sort. So I think a good majority have gone through it maybe once, but they can always go and do it again. And I think that's the big deal.
Well, so let's dive into that a little bit more.
Sure.
So if they've done it once, it's not like one and done. How frequently do they need to readdress it? And I guess, like, what do you normally recommend?
The manufacturers usually will allow a dealer on labor once a year. The state laws are the ones that we follow, and that dictates how often a dealer can submit, and that would be for parts and labor. Most of the laws say that the dealer can submit once a calendar year, which meaning, once January comes around, they can go and submit again. Some state laws say that it's every 12 months, and you'd have to wait the 12 months and then do it. Some state laws say you can do it twice in a calendar year, so you can do it in May, and if you have an increase and you want to do it in September, you can do it again. So it really depends on the state, but if the state law says you can do it once a calendar year or twice a calendar year, I mean, we want to make sure that they're doing it. Labor rate increases or parts matrix changes, and that there's some profit there and you can submit, may as well go ahead, and why leave money on the table?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, yeah, if you're able to make your service department more profitable, you
Sure.
can pay your technicians better, which is the problem that everybody's having trouble finding technicians right now.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
you want to be as efficient as possible.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
So I guess let's talk about the pros and cons of using, like, outsourcing this. I mean, I imagine that there probably are some dealerships that try to do it themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Versus using a service like yours. What are the pros and cons of the outsourcing?
I think the big difference is not only the time that it takes, but also expertise. So we do get dealers that say, oh, my service director or my fixed ops guy is going to do it. Okay. I'm not going to argue, but they always come back and they say, oh, that took me weeks and weeks. Can you check it for me? Can you look at it? And I say, sure. But aside from that, taking the time away from your job, your regular duties, taking this, weeks to do it and go through the data and fudge through it, what's the opportunity cost to you by you're not doing your day-to-day job? You're fudging with repair orders and data and paperwork and stuff. So that's one problem. And the other problem is you're not going to do it as good as an outsourced vendor that specializes in this, because we do it every day. We know what to look for. We know how to maximize and isolate the best data set, I'll say. And you leave just a couple points on the table or a couple dollars on the table. It's a big difference. So you want to make sure that you're getting every penny you can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, even if it was something small like $1 or $2
Sure.
per hour,
Exactly.
how many hours do you do in a year?
Right.
Like,
oh yeah.
Some
some dealers are doing thousands of labor hours a month, and you leave
Yeah.
just $1. It could be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Just so a lot of money.
Yeah. Wow. Well, and the time thing really makes a lot of sense too, because right now in the service department, we have a turnover rate of like 40% for our service riders, and so you're constantly bringing in new people that don't have all the training that they need,
Right.
and that's what the service manager needs to be focused on, not necessarily
Yeah, sitting
flipping
there
through
for
paper.
doing a whole week's worth of data work and kind of not knowing what's going on out there and stuff.
So Chris, it sounds to me that the healthier the customer pay side is, and the better you're doing on parts and labor on the customer pay side is directly going to affect the way and what you can get in reimbursement on the warranty side. Is that accurate?
That's 100% correct. the best thing to do, and we also can advise on this as well, and we'll help the dealers kind of maximize their customer pay, parts rates with parts matrix and discount analysis, and there's some stuff that we can do to make sure that the parts are maximized. And also on the labor side, we can make sure that the labor grids are in place, and we can also help with some market studies, make sure that you're in line with your neighboring dealers, competitive dealers, make sure everybody's kind of maximized. And then once the parts are maximized and you know you're humming along and labor's maximized, then with that data set, you want to turn around and use and submit for warranty. So if you're maximized and you're doing well on customer pay, that's going to ensure that you do well on the warranty side.
Boy, I mean, who wouldn't want to make more money from the work you're already doing,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. If you're going to work every day, you may as well just, try to do as best you can and just make sure that you're, doing well as far as markups and labor rates and watching your discounting and, making sure your advisors are, billing out, everything correct. And, once those repair orders are all set and doing well, then, you're going to profit there, you're going to profit warranty. So that it really works hand in hand.
Wow. I mean, it just leads to a healthier service department around the board, right?
That's what it is. Most dealerships today want to go for 100% service absorption. If you can get to that level, you're running that dealership on the service side.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Chris, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we go?
I think just that, you want to make sure that you go ahead and, you look at your law, see, if you're entitled to, submit again or submit, whether, like I said, it's once a year, twice a year, make sure your rates are maximized and you're receiving every dollar you can. I mean, you're entitled to it. You may as well take advantage of it.
Cool. And if somebody wanted to talk to you about it, how could they get in touch with you?
You go to our website, formulaauto.com. My email, chris@formulaauto.com, or, call us, email us, whatever it is, and we'll get right back to you.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you for coming today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. It's great.
Thank you for taking the time to join us for this AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, my guest has been Chris Forgione from Formula Automotive. We hope to see you again soon. This episode is Over the Curb and Burning Gas.